Okay, so normally I don't react to Sunnyv2 videos because they're kind of low hanging fruit. Kind of everybody does them. But with the Aaryon Kyro one and the skateboarding one, I'm kind of a little more in a position to actually comment on it. I've been a skateboarder most of my life. I've worked in skateboarding, so I kind of have a kind of knowledgeable viewpoint. So yeah, let's go ahead and get
Braille
into it.
Skateboarding paid his employees roughly $20 per hour,
We're basically minimum wage employees.
but donated over $1 million to the Church of Scientology. He'd gone to spend so much time with the strange organization that Braille was neglected until it died completely, in what is quite possibly YouTube's strangest ever downfall. The channel's owned by Aaron Kyro, a pro skateboarder from San Francisco.
So when Aaron Kyro calls himself a professional skateboarder, it's kind of this weird thing where he kind of backdoored his way into becoming a professional skateboarder. Skateboarding can be really tribalistic and gatekeepy, and it's got a lot of these weird rituals that happen. You see, what most people consider professional athlete or whatever, right, is you get paid to do it, and you get paid in a position to where you can survive, right? I mean, could you call like a part-time professional skateboarder a professional skateboarder? Sure. And in fact, a lot of people won't tell you this, but a lot of professional skateboarders a lot of times have other jobs to supplement themselves because skateboarding, for the most part, doesn't pay that much. So you've got what you would consider like a typical professional athlete, right? Which is somebody who competes or takes place in contests and that sort of thing. The problem with that is that skateboarding and skateboarders don't look at that as like a real professional skateboarder. Not so much these days, but back when people like Aaron Kyro were coming up, contest skateboarders were kind of laughed at, which is super silly. It's not worth getting into right now, but it's super goofy. True professional skateboarders were skateboarders who were sponsored by one of a handful of skater-owned brands that released video parts that would be a part of like VHS tapes or DVDs that you could go buy in a store. They had other ways of getting income. They would get paid by their sponsors for like photos and magazines and interviews and all this stuff. But if you competed in contests, you were considered a professional skateboarder, but most skateboarders in the community didn't take it too seriously. So that required you to be a part of these handful of companies that were considered core companies. And they decided when you turned pro, which essentially means they put your name on a skateboard and they sold your skateboard with your name on it. Now, people who weren't pros could get paid in skateboarding. There's tons of different ways. And what Aaron Kyro and a couple of people did is rather than go the route of going the traditional route of finding a company, it was typically a company that you grew up idolizing, the riders on the team, so on and so forth, and getting accepted by that team, put on that team, and then eventually being told by that team that, oh, you're now a professional skateboarder. They just went and started their own company and put their own names on the skateboards. And they sold because they catered to this section of the community, which is, it's really ingenious, and it's stupid that the rest of skateboarding doesn't do it, but of catering to newer skateboarders. And that generally meant they catered to a younger demographic, which from a skateboarding perspective was considered lame, but from a business standpoint, it's, duh, of course, like in a business, you have to get new people buying things. Like, that's just how it works. So from a authentic, original, professional skateboarder standpoint, most people did not consider him a professional skateboarder. But in reality, who really gives a shit? Because he was selling skateboards and making money. So, whatever.
My name's Aaron Kyro, and I run this channel, Braille Skateboarding.
He started Braille Skateboarding just 12 days after YouTube's launch, uploading the clips that he'd used to gain his sponsors. But when a simple video titled How to Push...
So another aspect of this was, especially early on in YouTube's lifespan, YouTube was really looked down on by the skateboard community. It was considered detrimental to the skateboard community. If you put your clips on YouTube, you were considered a kook. People either you put together these video parts to be released on a DVD or a VHS tape, and nobody who took themselves seriously put stuff on YouTube. Even releasing these videos, these what they called full-length videos, digitally on things like iTunes and stuff were considered really dumb. And people wanted, legit VHS and DVD copies. Skateboarding is super old-fashioned. Thankfully, with the advent of Instagram and that sort of thing, things have pushed away from that, and now it's much more acceptable to release your videos on YouTube and Instagram and that sort of thing. Do I think it was detrimental to the skateboarding community? No. I think more people skate now than ever. It's more accessible than ever. And I think the people that try to gatekeep a community like that are stupid. Of course, when I was younger, I didn't think that, but that was buying into this whole mythos that doesn't really exist anyway. So I'm a believer that YouTube and that sort of thing can only help skateboarding. But at the time, Aaron Kyro was not looked at as like a serious contender. As far as I know, he wasn't featured in a magazine like Thrasher, Transworld. None of the official skateboarding publications acknowledged them in any shape or form. So they really just carved out their own little section and just kept pushing and kept pushing.
On a skateboard.
No pun intended. That was not. Sorry about that.
Aaron Kyro saw an opportunity. He'd upload How to Ollie, then How to Nose Manual. This led to How to Pop Shove, and most notably How to Kickflip, each gaining massive view counts for the early days of YouTube. Braille made tutorials on every possible trick, giving the channel purpose and an obvious direction to help everyone learn how to skateboard.
That's like not, that. I mean, that's not a horrible thing, right? That's good for business. That's good for the skateboarding community. The more people that skateboard, the better the community goes. Skateboarding goes through these these peaks and valleys, which most hobbies and that sort of thing do. But you see these companies that start up during these booms, especially like during COVID, and even like it was this weird thing like around 2018, 2019, we saw this real high peak where so many companies were getting started because people are now starting to realize that it's not that hard to go buy blank skateboards and get them printed with whatever you want on them, and ultimately it's a lot cheaper than buying a skateboard from a company. And so of course, why wouldn't you do that? But they all blew up, and then all of a sudden, like, skateboarding goes through like so many companies, like anywhere from 10 to 20 companies per year will start up, close down, start up, close down. It is wild how many companies start and then they just cannot sustain themselves, right? Whereas a company like Braille and Revive sustain themselves by carving out essentially a new market, new customers, which is how you grow a fucking business, right?
The whole purpose of Braille skateboarding, to teach you guys to progress on your boards so you're having more fun on your boards.
These videos carried the channel to over 200,000 subscribers, but as Aaron Kyro became more known, so did another completely unrelated video. I am a Scientologist, Aaron Skateboarder.
My name is Aaron.
Yeah, this has been known like literally since the beginning of Braille, and people would bring it up, and I honestly don't know how it didn't become more of a thing way early on. Like Sunny said in the beginning that Scientology was eventually the downfall of Braille, which isn't actually true. Braille is still very much alive. They are not as big as they were by any stretch of the imagination, right? Let's see. Can we? Yeah, most popular. I mean, we're not used to, but 20 million views, 10 million views, 7 million views. I mean, this is again, 6-7 years ago. I think any channel goes through lulls like that, right? Let's see here. I mean, yeah, they were at a while getting, a couple million views for videos. That was pretty regular for them. And I mean, yeah, even up to 6 years ago, 9 years ago. I want to see what their most recent, like 4 years ago, 1 million views. So, during the pandemic and stuff was really, when they were still pretty big, but they've really fallen off as of recent because of the whole new group of people. Because that was the other thing too, is he would just kind of pick people up as it went along, right? People from the skate park, that sort of thing. So it was always kind of this rotating cast of characters. I mean, yeah, you could see whoever this kid is probably just a local from his park. These two, I am not familiar with them. This guy has been around for a long time. I don't know. They say what his name is, but I haven't seen him. Someone with a G, I think Glenn, maybe? Gabe, there you go. He's been around for a long time. I'm not sure why he's still there and everybody else left, but, Yeah, I mean, he's down to like my views, and that's pretty wild.
Aaron, I'm a skateboarder, and I'm also a Scientologist.
During a vulnerable period,
This video
in
is like
Aaron's life,
15 years old.
Scientology offered him a free personality test.
And on my personality test, my communication was really low. And then they suggested you should do a communication course.
Aaron took the course and saw significant improvement.
And it totally helped me communicate. It helped me a lot. And from that point forward, I just had this ability to communicate. It helped me a lot.
Getting him hooked on the Church of Scientology.
So then I did more courses from there and learned more. And
He'd argue it helped him improve his skateboarding.
the thing that happened before Scientology and after was I was learning tricks a lot easier. Things were just coming to me a lot easier with less effort.
And that Scientology gave him his career.
And now I built an entire career on communicating.
Yet all of his success could have easily been explained by simple repetition, practice, and week-on-week improvement. Between 2013 and 2014, he was uploading twice a day every day, which guaranteed improvement regardless of Scientology.
Yeah, they really cranked videos. I mean, they cranked them out non-stop, dude.
Yeah.
We now have 400,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big deal.
With the channel growing rapidly, Aaron hired Lance Silber, who also happened to be a Scientologist himself. Lance became Braille's main filmer and editor, as well as the channel's guinea pig who was learning how to skate. Videos of Aaron teaching Lance basic tricks did surprisingly well despite their simplicity, as skaters could watch and learn something new themselves. This seemed to tell Aaron that he should hire more
Yeah,
skaters,
see, there's Gabe,
and therefore
dude.
introduce Gabe Cruz, who'd suggest a slightly unconventional upload.
God,
A
man,
game of
he's
skate
so
on
young.
Walmart boards. Aaron thought the video would make him a joke amongst pro skaters, but it rather
He was already a joke, but
did
that's...
the opposite as everybody loved it. They'd therefore do the same thing with mini boards and longboards, turning it into a series called Stupid Skate, playing the game with crazy modified skateboards. There was a skateboard with suspension, one with 10 sets of trucks, and one you could ride on either side. It seemed the crazier the board,
The one you could ride on the other side was pretty sick, man. That was I think every skater in the world has like thought about doing that.
the more views they'd gain, leading things to be taken to the extreme.
We're gonna make a new series and it's gonna be called Skate Everything. And we get random things and we attach skateboard trucks and wheels to it, and then we skate on it.
They planned on putting wheels on random different items, beginning with a skinny plank of wood, then upgrading to a sharp square of metal. However, by only the third episode, Aaryon was skating an iPad, which was simply too brutal for people not to click.
I'm gonna feel so bad to drill a hole in this iPad. I wanna make this video, it's all Lance's fault. Blame Lance.
When the video attracted a whole new audience and gained 3 million views in under a month, Aaryon knew he'd found the perfect series. He'd repeat the idea with a MacBook, then a keyboard, then with a flat screen TV. When they ran out of electronics, they'd skate a full-size bedroom door, a surfboard and a skate shoe, generating so much channel interest, they'd gain almost 600,000 subscribers
Wow,
over a
bro.
2-month period in 2016.
You guys are the best, the absolute best.
Because we just hit 3 million subscribers.
In fact, Braille skateboarding became so popular, they'd build their own skate park called Braille House, which acted as their own personal filming studio. I found myself running an actual company, says Kyro, who had 3 full-time professionals running the video editing, merchandising, and finance departments. He'd also hire another 3 on-screen skaters, Fetty Potter, Carlos Lastra, and Nigel Jones.
These are the guys that pretty much left and have started spilling the beans on what was going on there, or at least Nigel is. Nigel is one of the more outspoken people.
But this wasn't only where Braille's money went. Between 2015 and 2017,
Wow. Can you just
Aaron
look this
Kyro
stuff
did
up?
16 Scientology courses, many of which were incredibly expensive. The L10 Rundown, for example, has an estimated cost of roughly $72,000, and this doesn't include the L11 and L12, both of which Aaron completed at the same time. Additionally, Aaron completed something called OT3, which according to Reddit, the running tally to complete OT3 would be $278,000.
Wow, 300
This ignores
grand,
that he
bro.
eventually went up to OT6, presumably costing even more, yet Aaron believed that all of this was worth it. An article on his training wrote, L10 was a particularly revelatory experience for him. The gains and abilities are so high, I could not even dream they would be available. My space is so big and so clean, and my flows are wide open. I got rid of masses that had been in my space for trillions of years.
Trillions,
I
bro.
truly uncovered my basic
Trillions,
goodness
bro.
and rightness as a being. He's still having daily cognitions directly related to L10, and his online traction has seen a noticeable uptick, which to be fair was certainly true. The channel was gaining so many views, and all of the members were having so much fun, that the massive amounts being spent on Scientology simply weren't a major concern. They'd continue to ride different exotic skateboards, and allow the audience to send in their own, resulting in some of the channel's highest viewed videos. The Lego skateboard gained 8 million views, the heaviest skateboards gained 11 million, whilst the glass board with glass wheels gained 28 million.
Yeah, that was
views.
one
The
of their
trend
biggest
wacky
for sure.
skateboards was slowly getting stale.
Especially when the one
Viewers knew what
broke.
to expect in every single upload, and after over 200 episodes, each variation was becoming less interesting. To make matters worse, at around the same time, Lance announced that he'd be leaving, which added to the channel's slow viewership decline. In Dumb Data's video about Braille, it's
I didn't know Dumb Data did one too.
2019,
Dumb Data is so sick. If you're like into skateboarding at all and you don't know who Dumb Data is, go watch Dumb Data's videos. They're amazing.
Braille's views fell by almost 60%, at which point things began to get weird. At this point, Aaron's involvement in Scientology wasn't super mainstream until an article was published titled "The Donors Keeping Scientology Afloat in 2019," with Aaron Kyro being pictured at the top.
God, man, the fact that he is considered like a lesser, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, I guess that makes sense, but dude, that is, holy smokes. There's also, for what it's worth, there's also a not insignificant amount of Scientology in skateboarding. There's a handful of people. There was rumors for a long time that Jason Lee was a Scientologist. I don't know that he is. I don't think, I think he dated somebody that was a Scientologist at some point. I I can't say for sure. I don't think he is. There's nothing that suggests that he is, but whatever. He's not the only one. There are plenty of people that are in skateboarding that have either been accused of or are like full-blown Scientologists, and they don't like hide it. They talk about it, whatever.
It explained that he'd earned what's called gold meritorious, given to people who donated more than $1 million to Scientology. On a podcast, Aaron tried to play this down.
Don't you need to give the church a certain amount of money each year to be a part, or
No.
you don't have to give them any money?
No. Courses cost a fee. So the communication course that I did was $100. And the books are like range from $25 to like $30.
But his extensive involvement was documented everywhere. He'd appear in yet another Scientology promo video, for which he was heavily roasted in the comments beneath. But negative audience feedback didn't change his feelings.
Somebody said something bad about that, so I'm just gonna stop. Like, no way.
And to be honest, again at this point, his involvement in Scientology wasn't really hurting anyone. However, this was about to change.
I mean, that's...
In January 2020, Braille uploaded a video titled I Need Help, requesting that viewers donate to him to save his hometown skate park.
Anything that you guys can give would be incredible. We're trying to raise $200,000. Anything that you can give would be so amazing.
This led to videos such as Aaron Kyro gives Scientology $750,000, but begs fans for donations, whilst people on Reddit wrote, maybe just funnel the massive donations made to Scientology rather than using your viewer base of children to recreate your park. Comments read, did he have this much money when they had Carlos sleeping in the warehouse like a homeless person, leading people to make a realization? I heard that most of the profits of Braille go to donations to Scientology instead of to the skaters that make it what it is. The skaters were running all the brand deals.
Yeah, and I can't think of this guy's name, the long-haired blonde guy. He's super sick
barely
too.
being paid.
He's super
It's like,
popular.
You want us to be the face saying, hey, buy this product, do this thing. And then like we gain nothing from the brand deal. Like we have sponsors of our own as well. We have sponsors that conflict with this brand deal that you're gonna try to make us go and do on our own. And we are getting nothing but our normal low wage.
And even built ramps for the channel without compensation.
They asked me to build it, and I built it the day of from scratch, and they didn't even drop a penny.
Imagine working for someone, carrying the channel for $20 an hour. Then you hear that your boss donated $1 million to Scientology. In the process, Fetty and Carlos, two of Braille's most beloved members, left the team under sketchy circumstances. Nigel also announced that he'd be leaving, but would still be in the videos, just not as an employee. He'd later explain the shocking reason for this.
I left because I was making more off of unemployment than I was filming full time.
With pay rises being few and far between.
How many raises did you get?
In 10 years, one.
But in case conditions couldn't get any worse for the skaters, they somehow still did. As in 2021, Aaron came to the team with another wild announcement.
He goes, in 1 week from now, I'm going to business school for 5 months and I'll be back. And then we're like, whoa, like what the?
As a result,
What? So like what? What?
Gabe became responsible for running Braille completely, as Aaron disappeared to focus on business school.
2 months passed. No one has talked to Aaron at all. It's like, it's not like he's on the phone going, hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah,
oh, the videos are
right.
Good. Like, oh, you're doing really good. Nothing. It was just silence, like legit.
So it was a
like, silence.
Scientology
This
thing,
disappearance
right?
lasted longer than expected.
The 5 months, it ends up being like, I want to say like 8 or 9 months. Then he goes away again. He's like, oh, I gotta go back. I didn't finish. It was not long, and then he was gone for again, like I want to say like 4 or 5 months, maybe even more. Then he come back for like 1 week or something. Then he was gone again, and I want to say the total time was about like 2 years, I think.
After 2 whole years of barely being on the channel, Aaron returned with a video titled I'm Sorry, initially acknowledging his disappearance.
I've been absent from the videos. I know you guys know that. I'm back. We're getting back on track.
Before again claiming to be learning about business.
It's got to be
I did take
Scientology
some
related.
time for
It's got to
myself,
be.
And I did learn as much as I could about business.
However, conveniently upon his return, another video was gaining some traction. Aaron Kyro is the new leader of Scientology.
I didn't know that.
Aaron had
Holy.
joined Scientology's executive team. as the time
Yo.
he'd supposedly spent in business school was actually him just completing more Scientology coursework.
Yo.
In combination with his absence, put immense pressure on everyone else at Braille.
And I'm sorry for being gone for so long. I know it's really really hard on my team here.
So much so that they all began to quit.
He emerged as the leader of Scientology SF. In that time, this guy started quitting. Mowgli, Uzi, JD. And then when Gabe was the final straw.
As mentioned, this included Gabe, who at this
Wait.
point was completely running everything.
For the past 7 years, I've been doing all the behind-the-scenes stuff for the main Braille YouTube channel.
Comments read, well, there goes the guy that's been carrying this channel for years.
Honestly, Gabe was running the channel. Gabe
What?
Was doing, like, literally.
Did he come back?
99.
Did he come back or something? I hope. Well, I guess we'll find out.
Over, who by this point seemed to be completely clueless.
Now we no longer have Gabe to plan, film, and make all those videos. The content is definitely going to be changing. And what you're gonna get, I actually have no idea. But it's gonna go
Yikes.
back to the roots of this company, teaching tutorials. Yes, we are gonna make weird boards, weird videos.
This was far from an innovative strategy, with the lack of fresh skilled content being obvious to all.
You look at the videos now, you look at the thumbnails now, you look at the ideas now. Terrible, right? On Braille's channel. Much worse than when we and Gabe were doing it. And that truly shows how much work we were doing.
This dropped the channel's views to just a couple.
Yeah, I mean, those guys, Ricky Glazer. That's what his name is. Ricky Glazer, the amount of effort that dude puts in. I thought he had his own channel for the longest time. He must have, and then still simultaneously been doing that and Braille, which is wild.
A month, forcing Aaron to destroy their skate park.
I was trying to negotiate with the landlords to get a break on the rent. This is a huge overhead. It's tons of money to have a warehouse, and we just could not come to an agreement. And then I got a letter from their lawyer that basically just said, you have got to be out by July 5th.
Unsurprisingly, the audience offered no sympathy. That $750,000 you spent to go up in the skies of heaven could have been spent better, but in true Braille fashion, it was even worse than this. Ricky Glazer, one of the last remaining members, wasn't even told that the skate park was being destroyed.
I knew Braille was struggling, but man, I didn't know the park was literally getting destroyed right now. No one told Rick anything, and it's like, man, I really would have loved to know that.
That's
one
such a
last
bummer.
Like, I poured all this blood, sweat, and tears literally into that place.
He was saddened by the sight of everything being discarded, which somehow offended Aaron to such an extent that Ricky was promptly fired.
Braille Skateboarding and Aaron Kyro both blocked me, Ricky Glazer.
That's so
Nigel
crazy.
decided to leave himself.
I will no longer be at Braille doing videos.
There was also somebody in the Braille camp got caught up in some kind of grooming or SA stuff. And it was Nigel that said he was leaving because of that, or he wanted to leave because of that. But that was, I think, closer to a couple of years ago now.
Won't be doing lessons with them anymore, obviously, because there is no location.
Pissed off by Braille's blatant lack of care.
And I mean, to block Ricky Glazer, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's never struck me as the kind of person that would do anything to anybody to require that kind of a reaction. So, like, if you're blocking Ricky Glazer, bro, something's wrong with you.
No good advice session, no nothing. 10 years of your life. I haven't even gotten, like, a thank you for all of the years of dedicating myself to the channel.
Aaron responded with a video of his own, claiming he tried to save the skate park.
You guys must know that I did everything I could to save the Braille house. I literally took out a loan on my house.
But with over 50,000 dislikes,
Yo,
it seems he missed the point
bro.
completely. Aaron, no one is worried about the warehouse. They're worried about the crew you ghosted.
Mm-hmm.
Womp womp, you screwed the crew and that's who.
But, I mean, I think for what it's worth, the crew, Ricky Glazer and Nigel, I'm pretty sure they're better off on their own, doing their own stuff.
He cared about. He is legit more upset about what he did to the building than what he did to all of the people that made it what it was. Without a skate park or skate...
I mean, I think, don't get me wrong, it's screwed up, but, like, I think when he says the Braille warehouse, he could be referring to all of them. I get it, but I'm just saying.
Crew,
like,
the state of Braille is worse than ever. Aaron recently uploaded a video titled Thank You, just reading positive comments from 1 year prior, seemingly to convince himself to keep uploading.
he looks pretty, right? He's looking pretty gaunt.
I continue going because of comments like this. I absolutely love this.
Braille's viewership has fallen to roughly 5K per upload.
I have the same amount of views as Braille. Let's go,
Every
dude.
comment section is filled with negativity, which Aaron
Let's
tries
go,
his
dude.
hardest to defend himself